Arsenal have bounced back, smashing 3 goals past Club Brugge to all but qualify for the Champions League knockout stages. Let's just say Mikel Arteta's attack is changing. So from a Noni Madueke statement performance to Arteta's brand new tactical experiments, a Martin Zubimendi masterclass, and the true impact of the return of Gabriel Jesus. As per, let's break it all down and discuss the 5 things we learnt from Club Brugge 0, Arsenal 3. Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Baz14. Welcome back to your boys channel. Welcome back to 3 Point Collectors FC once again. For the 5th time this season, Arsenal have lost the game and won the following, a bounce back ability that we love to see. So as per, smash a like on the video if you do enjoy and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Helping your boy as we are less than 1,000 away from the big 250k. But starting off with the first thing, and that is wide forward excellence. As Arsenal made it 6 Champions League wins in a row, but in a game where Mikel Arteta rotated heavily, no manager in the history of the Champions League has a better win rate for an English club than Mikel Arteta, now at a whopping 71%. And even after all the changes, Arsenal was still very dominant. Despite Brugge having a 1.13 XG, Arsenal had a 3.35, with 0.35 XG in the bank to use going forwards. The game was broken by a moment of absolute Champions League brilliance. Noni Madueke scoring an absolute scream from an XG of only 0.02. And that, my friends, is what the Champions League is all about. When you look at the most successful team in Champions League history, and that being Real Madrid, the amount of times their players have produced moments of absolute magic being a major factor as to why they've won so many Champions Leagues. If Arsenal want to get over the line, moments like this have to become consistent. In a game where Madueke was given the official player of the match award, his performance certainly deserved it with an 8.4 SOFA score rating, 2 goals from next year of 1.01, with 4 shots and 3 on target, as well as 2 successful dribbles. This is what you call an all-action performance, and the prime example being that first goal, from breezing past a Brugge player to smashing the ball into the back of the net. Not only did we see fantastic ball carrying over a distance, but we also saw an elite level of ball striking a shot that not a single keeper in the world is going to save. As Noni says, that first one was sweet. My teammates need to give me the ball and think something will happen. This is the next level that I need to get to so I can be consistent for club and country. I feel like we can win this competition and the league. That's the mindset. In a game that he also got a second, showing great poacher's instinct. No Arsenal player won more duels, had more shots on targets, all completed more take-ons in the first half than Noni Madueke. It was an electric performance, showing so many signs of what he is going for, as he becomes the first player in Arsenal's history to score each of his first 3 goals for the club in the European Club/Champions League, a player that comes alive when the lights shine brightest. He's also given Mikel Arteta a lot of food for thought. When you think about the right-hand side and the options that Arsenal now have, Noni Madueke alongside Bukayo Saka, from the performance against Bayern Munich off the bench on that right-hand side, to this start here and all the excellence, it starts to make you wonder where he's so comfortable on that right-hand side. Even if you have seen Mikel Arteta use him off the left, where is his future going to be? And is there a way for Mikel Arteta to use both Madueke and Saka in the same team? With all the talk that Mikel Arteta is looking for almost a Rafinha profile on that left-hand side, following the emergence of Lamine Yamal as that right winger, despite Rafinha looking so comfortable there, moving over to the left-hand side, his numbers automatically increased. Is that a certain career arc that we could see for Bukayo Saka? A player that of course started as a left-back. Right now it is hypothetical, so the one good thing is, they both play for Arsenal Football Club and I'm happy to have them here. With even the hand of Arsenal saying, huge admiration for Noni, who took the challenge of coming to Arsenal and telling Arteta, I believe in myself, and has backed himself all the way, sheer resilience. A great story and I'm happy for him. With hashtag no for Madueke trending before his Arsenal rival, he is a man that Mikel Arteta always believed in. So as soon as he scored his scream, it was only right that he went straight over to the Arsenal boss to celebrate. And he wasn't the only Arsenal wide forward excelling, because on the left hand side you had Gabriel Martinelli. And despite struggling in that first half, after scoring an absolute screamer cutting on the left hand side, this is why, my friends, confidence matters. Having now scored in 5 Champions League games in a row, becoming the first player in Arsenal's history to ever reach that feat. That is now 5 goals in 3 Champions League starts. In a game that he dropped an 8.3 rating, with 1 goal from next year of 0.05. as well as 3 out of 6 dribbles, 1 big chance created and 4 key passes. This was a game that we saw 2 different versions of Gabriel Martinelli. Before the goal, a player that was trying to beat his man, but struggling to beat him consistently. But straight after scoring that screamer, you could see a player transform in confidence, taking on his man time and time again and actually beating him, showing his pace running in behind, as well as a high level 1v1 threat. Of the 124 players to have had 5 attempts or more in this season's Champions League, Gabriel Martinelli has the highest conversion rates at 57%, with 6 Champions League goals and assists, more than Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo combined. Only Kylian Mbappe and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang have more goals and assists than Gabriel Martinelli in the Champions League this season. Now a word from our sponsor, Proton VPN. Not only the best defense out there when it comes to keeping your browser private, on par with Arsenal when they have Gabriel and Saliba. If you've ever searched for a show and it's not available in your region, with the magic of Proton VPN you can switch your location and enjoy. working with Netflix and plenty of other streaming platforms. With 13,000 plus servers in 120 countries, you have a whole host of regions to choose from, as well as gaining access to global TV channels no matter where you are. It works on your phone, your laptop and TV all in one account, not only making it convenient, but with their VPN accelerator boosting speeds up to 400%, you can sit back and enjoy your streaming without any buffering, as well as an integrated ad blocker that blocks ads and trackers to enhance your browsing experience, just like how the likes of Saliba and Gabriel defend their Arsenal goal. These man ensure that you man enjoy the best experience. So if you want a whopping 75% off during the Black Friday offer, simply use my link down below in the description, protonvpn.com/babs14, or scan the QR code on screen right now to keep your browser as secure as Arsenal's defense will be once Gabriel and Saliba return. Moving on to the second thing, and that is Arteta's new experiments. In a game where Mikel Arteta made so many changes, the surprise of the lineup was definitely the centre-back partnership. Piero Nkapia alongside Christian Norgard, as Mikel Arteta used his 7th different centre-back partnership of the season. In the case of Christian Norgard, he has played in the past, but as pointed out by Kaya Kaina, it was his first game at centre-back since 2020. That was for Brentford in the Championship, and the Champions League is a completely different matter. And I'm not surprised to see Mikel Arteta use a midfielder as centre-back, having seen that in the past with Declan Rice playing as centre-back. Christian Norgard's profile was identified as someone that could do a job there. With even Mikel Arteta asked before the game, Christian Norgard at centre-back is that needs must. Mikel Arteta said, "We will do what we think is best." And the funniest thing was Norgard was actually very decent. In a game that he dropped a 7.5 SOFA score rating, with 3 out of 3 tackles, 2 interceptions, 4 clearances, 1 block shot and 2 recoveries, winning 3 or 4 ground duels, as well as completing 93% of passes. With the confidence of a midfielder playing at centre-back, as well as a very decent level of defensive security, a lot of fans, including myself, were really surprised to see how comfortable Norgard looked as a centre-back. And it is almost becoming trademark Mikel Arteta to see midfielders that are seen as number 6 or number 8 and find a way to play them in new positions. First, of course, you had Mikel Merino playing as a striker, and now you've got Christian Norgard playing as a centre-back. No, it is not a long-term solution, but having profiles that are versatile in needs-must moments where players are injured, as proven today, can be very useful, with Norgard thriving alongside, of course, Piero Nkapia. As pointed out by the Hand of Arsenal, Nkapia has the best mentor in the world to learn from in Gabriel. Gabriel is also an enforcer type centre, but has crafted his arc to know when to get touch tides and when to hold off. I can't wait to see him at left back too, because his crossing is next level. As Nkapia dropped a 7.6 rating, with 3 out of 3 tackles, 2 interceptions, 1 block shot and 3 recoveries, 4 of 5 ground duels and 2 of 2 in the air, 94% of passes completed. Could you imagine at the start of the day, with all of Arsenal's defensive depth, to have a game we have Christian Norgard alongside Nkapia, and also still find a way to keep a clean sheet? This was a game that Mikel Arteta had to find a solution, once again find a way to adapt, and as proven by the scoreline and the 3 points, he found a way to do. So when asked before the game about Ricardo Calafiori being benched and Jurrien Timber not being in the squad, Arteta confirmed they both had issues from the weekend. 2 really bad kicks. For Timber it was too early, and for Richie we have to manage, if he can do some minutes. Despite of their Arsenal keeping yet another clean sheet, having now kept 15 this season and only conceded 10, in a game where we had to rely on the excellence of the Arsenal goalkeeper. Watching a Champions League Gabriel masterclass dropping a 9.2 SOFA score rating, with 7 saves and a 1.12 goals prevented, 6 being inside the box, as well as completing 88% of his passes. Sometimes as Arsenal fans, I think we take Gabriel for granted, when you do have some of the very best defenders playing in front of you. Yes, Gabriel and Saliba, when they're fit, do an amazing job, but watching Raya make so many important saves today, especially that one in the first half with that 1v1 moment, it makes you start to realise straight away the high calibre of goalkeeper that Arsenal have to their disposal, and one that I definitely believe cannot be taken for granted. But moving on to the third thing, and that is Gabriel Jesus is back. In the month of December, Gabriel Jesus has once again risen after 322 days out with injury, a heartbreaking ACL against Man United at the start of the year. It was time for Mikel Arteta to reunite his very famous front three of Gabriel Jesus, Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Martinelli. And boy was it enjoyable, watching Jesus come off the bench and provide those flicks straight away. This guy still has that it factor, dropping a 6.6 over score rating with an XG of 0.36, 3 shots, 2 on target, 1 hit in the woodwork, and 1 trademark big chance missed. You weren't seeing a player that had just come back from an ACL injury. He was playing freely with a lot of confidence and giving the Arsenal attack a lot more tempo. And it starts to make you wonder, could this be our secret weapon going into this season? With all the focus on Victor Gyökeres, Bukayo Saka and so many other Arsenal attackers, Gabriel Jesus has gone under the radar for a player that was slowly picking up form at the start of the year, goals against Crystal Palace and Brentford, but suffering a heartbreaking injury. But if you can get that quality of 2022-23, that free-flowing forward that gets the Arsenal attack ticking, there was a reason why in that season where Arsenal had a tremendous start, 50 points after the first half of the season, Gabriel Jesus was firmly involved, a profile that you can throw anywhere in the front three and he'll still find a way to thrive. Having played on the left and right hand side, you wonder how Mikel Arteta is going to use him going forward, because when you compare him to the other strikers that Arsenal do have, and the one that started this game in Victor Gyökeres, Not only was Jesus more sharp, but he looked far more complete as a centre forward. So let's talk about the performance of Victor Gyökeres, dropping a 5.9 SofaScore score rating, with an extra 0.45, 3 total shots, 1 on target, and 2 big chances missed. When you think about the first half and the amount of times that Arsenal given away possession, despite of course taking the lead without having a certain level of security going forwards, every time he went up to Victor Gyökeres, he wasn't able to hold the ball up. He was getting into the right positions, as shown by the 2 big chances missed, but it's not the first time this season that we've seen Gyökeres drop a red SofaScore score rating, and some Arsenal fans are starting to worry. A £65 million signing brought in to change Arsenal going forwards. Having scored 6 goals, that is not a bad return, but with the return of Gabriel Jesus and likewise soon Kai Havertz, how is Arteta going to use his strikers, and who is going to be that number 1? That's what I want you guys to debate down below in the comments. Once Kai Havertz is also fully fit and available, after Gyökeres, Havertz and Gabriel Jesus, who would be your number 1 Arsenal striker? Moving on to the 4th thing, and that is a Martin Zubimendi masterclass. In a game that Arsenal were cruising but at times lost a bit of control, as shown by the stats we only had 51% possession, with 5 big chances created and 1 conceded. 20 shots to Club Brugge's 18. We have to give flowers to Martin Zubimendi, because not only was he involved for 2 Arsenal goals, but we saw a different level going forward. In a game that he dropped an 8.4 SofaScore score rating, with 2 assists and 3 big chances created, 6 key passes, and 81% of passes completed. I've talked about the pass of Zubimendi being a very unique profile. When you think about a number 6 defensively, Zubimendi has that ability a lot. But going forwards in that final third around the box, his profile was also very influential and has so much potential, as shown in this game with 3 big chances created, and the second assist for Noni Madueke. The prime example of Arteta's fluidity. You find your number 6 as a left winger on his weaker left foot, still finding in a superb delivery and laying it on the plate for Madueke. When we focus on the profile of Martin Zubimendi, we need to talk about him as an all-phase midfield. He's not just a player who keeps the ball and keeps the ticket, but if he sees an opportunity in that final third, as shown by the high-quality assist, he has the ability to make it count. And then you had the performance of Ethan Nwaneri coming off the Arsenal bench, playing as a number 10 and dropping a 7.2 SofaScore score rating, with 1 key pass and 92% of passes completed, as well as 2 shots on target. In a game that of course you had to start for Arsenal captain Martin Odegaard. But the more that I see the profile of Nwaneri, you will have the Arsenal fans that will say, the profile of Odegaard as our number 10 sometimes can be a limitation. But when you then compare him to Gabriel Jesus, who is a more pure number 10, and the focus being getting goals and assists, he's also a profile that doesn't have the influence of Martin Odegaard. And that's why I'm looking at Ethan Nwaneri, a player that has almost the best of both worlds. Not only is he able to drop deep and dictates play, but he's also a player with a burst going forward. If he spots a gap in that midfield, he's able to burst forwards and expose it, where Odegaard doesn't have that same level of burst. Still at only 18 years of age, having broken into the Arsenal team last season, he has now made 50 appearances at 18 years of age. It all falls down to Arteta. If you can give this guy more minutes, he is a profile that you can consider complete. Whether it's a number 8 or as a number 10, he has the quality to hurt teams in many different ways. But moving on to the 5th thing, that is Champions League cruise control. And that is exactly what Arsenal are doing, number 1 in the Champions League, with only 1 goal conceded. But in all the Champions League history, 5 English teams have won their first 6 games of the campaign. United, Leeds, Liverpool and City, and now Arsenal of 2025-26, the only side in this year's competition that still has a 100% win record. And you know what, this game was almost the perfect night. Not only were you able to rest so many important players, but even the players that came in, they stepped up and provided a performance. The likes of Madueke scoring 2 goals, Norgard thriving as a centre-back, and more importantly also securing 3 points and scoring 3 goals, still finding a way to keep a clean sheet. And Arteta able to give yet another Champions League debut, with 16-year-old Marley Salman coming off the bench. Only 3 players have played for an English club in UEFA Champions League history, while aged 16 or younger, and all 3 have done so for Arsenal. Jack Wilshere, Max Thelman and now Marley Salman. Let's just say it's the heritage of the Hill End. Young players arriving onto the scene and making a name for themselves straight away, with the focus now turning to Wolves and side, as Arsenal face the only team in the league that has yet to win their first game this season. And the main focus will of course be on which players are going to be available. In a game that Arsenal had no Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Mosquera, Rice, Havertz or Trossard, there were so many key players missing that here's a great example of an entire team that didn't even start today. Look at the quality you have across the entire team, especially that front three of Trossard, Havertz and Saka. But the most important thing is that Arsenal found a way to bounce back. After a heartbreaking defeat against Aston Villa in the 94th minute, for the 5th time this season, Arsenal have lost the game, Arsenal have dropped points in their game, and gone on to win the following. But that is the video there and there, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have, don't forget to smash a like and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. Also thanks again to Proton VPN and Proton Pass for sponsoring this video. Both links are down below in the description. Make sure to check them out and get 75% off their Black Friday offer. But that was the 5 things we learned from Club Brugge 0, Arsenal 3, back to winning ways, bouncing back straight away, and more importantly, Gabriel Jesus is back and he could make things interesting. So my friends, I'll see you next time, take care of yourselves and in a bit.